member of the so-called religion of the Jews, you not only believed in the law of Moses, but you believed in the Mishnah, the Gemara, and the Kabbalah, and all kinds of other things that had been added in Babylon. So it was against that religion that Jesus taught. He said, you are teaching for commandments the traditions of men. Jesus exposed this whole nefarious system. That's why they crucified him, because Jesus ripped the layers of that Pharisaical teaching from Babylon and got back to the true law of Moses. I'm telling you, that's true, church. That's why they crucified Jesus. That's why the high priest and the great Sanhedrin, consisting of 70 elders, said, this guy's got to be crucified. He's going to destroy our law. They meant the Babylonian Talmud, and that's what Jesus really exposed in his life. And so what happens here at this council, if you'll notice here, in Acts 15. In Acts 15, we have verse 1, certain men which came down from Judea taught the brethren and said, except you be circumcised after the manner of Moses, you cannot be saved. Paul and Barnabas, in response to this, there's a crisis at Antioch. The church is being split apart because you have the Judean believers. They believe in Jesus, but they say you first must become circumcised. You first become a member of the Judean religion, and then you're qualified to go over here and be baptized and become a follower of Jesus. And the apostles, now Peter's going to be the first main speaker. And I'm just going to read verses 10 and 11, which summarize Peter's position. Now therefore, why tempt ye God to put a yoke upon the neck of the disciples, which neither our fathers nor we were able to bear? Remember, Peter is an Old Testament Judean believer, just like Paul. But we believe that through the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ, we shall be saved even as they. Now this is for Peter to make this statement, churches, at that time in history was mind-bending. Because Peter said they're going to be saved by grace through Christ, period. Salvation is by faith in Jesus plus nothing. And they're going to be saved even as we are. Now, Peter just announced something. You have to catch it. Look closely. When he said, we shall be saved even as they. Now, they are these uncircumcised Gentiles, which Peter says are going to be saved apart from the law. Now, Peter is saying, hello, we also are being saved apart from the law. Do you see that, church? Now, when Peter said this was like preaching a revolutionary truth to the indigenous Judeans. Peter was one of those. When he said, we're going to be saved just like the Gentiles. We're being saved without the law. And that was unthinkable in that time in history. So when Peter said this, it was like dropping a theological atom bomb, because it now meant that all the believing Judeans who thought that they, by virtue of who they were and their relationship to circumcision and the law, were now qualified to become believers in the Messiah. See, they had prerequisites set up before you could become saved. And all those prerequisites were torn down. Yes, they were all Israelites, but part of the Israelites had set up impossible barriers for the others. Now, a non-apostle gave the final summary. The Roman Catholic Church believes that Peter was the first pope of the church. Do you know who actually became the first premier leader of the church? He wasn't even an apostle. It was James. James ruled and gave the summary ruling that was accepted. And we've mentioned this a little bit before. It would take 1 hour to explain James' words, but let me go to Acts chapter 15, verse 19 and 20. Here's what James said. And this became the decree that was taken to Antioch and all the other churches that were opening their arms to the Greek-speaking, uncircumcised Gentiles. Acts 15, 19 and 20. Wherefore my sentence is that we trouble not them which from among the Gentiles are turned to God, but that we write unto them that they abstain from pollutions of idols, that's offering homage to idols, and from fornication, that's sexual behavior outside the institution of marriage, and from things strangled, that's eating blood that has not been, eating meat that has not been properly bled. That's what strangled means there. Eating meat that has not been properly bled, and from blood. Now those 4 prohibitions, church, are found in the law of Moses, and I have all the verses written out here on a piece of paper that will show you exactly where they're found in the law of Moses, all 4 of those. However, why did James only mention 4 things in closing here? He mentioned these Gentiles, if they're going to be qualified to be baptized, these are Israelites of the dispersion, lost their identity, don't know who they are. He says, number 1, you've got to abstain from offering sacrifices to idols. And number 2, you abstain from fornication. 3, from things strangled. And 4, you cannot eat blood. What about the 10 Commandments, church? Did James suddenly say that the 10 Commandments are not important? No. Because James didn't mention any of the other important laws that are in the Bible, are they no longer relevant? What happened to the 10 Commandments at the Council of Jerusalem? James didn't say that you had to